Everyone, this is Lawrence Watkins with the Black Financial Channel, and welcome to the Financial Juneteenth 5. These are my 5 favorite articles as it relates to Black finance, wealth, and business for today, September 25th, 2020. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so our lead story of today comes from Bloomberg News. I believe the Washington Post also reported on this. It's from yesterday night, and it says that Trump to court skeptical Black voters with a small business plan. So the speech will come into Atlanta today, I believe, and it is coming fresh off, of course, the protest with Breonna Taylor. He also will promise to advance criminal sentencing reforms. But it starts off talking about President Trump will make an appeal to Black Americans, a poised group to vote overwhelmingly against him in November, with offers to expand small business and to further criminal justice reforms. The article also mentions that Trump plans to outline a policy the White House calls the Platinum Plan to increase Black employment and give Black business owners access to $500 billion in capital, according to people familiar with the proposal. The plan will also include things related to opportunity zones. So as many know, opportunity zones was supposed to be the free market answer to poverty and I guess non-investment in certain areas in the United States. But it's also been a source of gentrification as well. So we'll see how much his plan actually has to do with opportunity zones and using those for the future as well. But it's interesting to see here in a poll in January, the Washington Post found that about 83% of Black Americans consider Trump to be racist and think he's exacerbated the U.S. racial tensions. Another poll found the same percentage of likely Black voters support Joe Biden for president, while just 10% support Trump. But I found that to be interesting because I believe in the 2016 election, only 8% of Black voters supported Trump. So he's actually gaining, I guess, a couple percentage points on that particular area. So, of course, this is a huge issue in the United States. And Trump is looking at swing states more than anything else, where if he can pull away some Black voters from the Democratic Party, he increases his likelihood and chances of actually winning the election. So this was done Bloomberg, so please check that out today. The link will be in the description. The second article comes from the Vanity Fair. This is all about corporations and will they stay the course. So they started off with a quote. This feels like a different moment in time with Black Lives Matter, but support for Black Lives Matter is dropping off nationwide. Will corporations actually stay the course? So after the police killing of George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter movement saw unprecedented support, and companies were all about racial justice. There was more risk in remaining silent, one person said. Now the winds have changed, but strong factors are still pushing corporations to recalibrate. And really, this article is talking about those wins in terms of them recalibration has to do mainly with employees of the company. So there was a post down here. Let me see if I can find it. Racial justice. Yeah. So Color of Change told me that she is, or Aisha Hatch says that she's seen a sea change in terms of how companies are approaching the issue. But let me see if I can find this quote. Here we go. Here's the main quote that I found out of this Vanity Fair article. At the root of corporate action on issues of racial equity is pressure from employees, especially younger ones. Companies are keenly aware that they're fighting for talent in a competitive marketplace. And then it goes on to say in the next sentence here, increasingly being perceived as an employer of choice among younger, educated workers who comprise the core of the long-term job market is tied to reputation on diversity, inclusion, and activism on racial equity. So that's an interesting article talking about how corporations are seeing this movement. Part of it moral, but then a lot of it, dealing with business decisions as well. The next article comes from Forbes. And it's about OneUnited Bank, the nation's largest Black-owned bank, and talking about how they are unapologetically Black and activist. I wish I knew more about this bank before this article. I'm going to have to do some deeper research, and I want to attempt to get some representatives from OneUnited Bank on the Black Financial Channel as well. But OneUnited Bank's mission remains being Black being Black America's first choice in banking. It was started in 1966 by HBS student John T. Hayden, conceived the idea for the Black-owned bank in Boston. He was then actually later drafted to the Vietnam War, I believe. But then they talk about, determined to honor King, assassinated 2 months earlier. Unity focused on economic activism in the Black community. Its slogan was and remains the bank with a purpose. So then it gets into today, and I guess the descendant of this Unity Bank is what we see now with OneUnited Bank. So they have 3 brick and mortar branches, and they also have an extensive online presence. But what makes this bank unique from branding and banking services is it has developed a bold commitment to identifying and operating as an activist bank, what Williams calls a bank for Black America. So this was a very interesting article. So CEO, I believe they're a husband and wife team. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken on that particular front, but those are the executives of this particular bank. So yeah, we're going to do our best to get them actually on the Black Financial Channel as well, to discuss what they're doing and why we should all put our money into their bank as well. The next comes from Congressional Black Caucus, comes from the Black Star News, and it states that Congressional Black Caucus unveils policy agenda to advance Black families. So at the Black Financial Channel, we care tremendously about Black families, but it starts by saying Wednesday, members of Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus, unveiled the second edition of the Jobs and Justice Act. The comprehensive legislation developed by Congressional Black Caucus is aimed at increasing the upward mobility of Black families in America. The Jobs and Justice Act of 2020 is a package of over 200 bills championed by members of the CBC. This omnibus bill addresses a wide range of issues, from community and economic development and educational opportunities to health disparities, environmental justice, and comprehensive justice reform. Getting to some of the things, this press release outlines some of the provisions the bill includes, including raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, establishing baby bonds to give every American child a seed savings account of $1,000 at birth, and incentivizes food service providers such as grocers, retailers, and nonprofits to help eradicate food deserts, which disproportionately impact communities of color. So please make sure you check that article out on blackstarnews.com. The last actually comes from a podcast. I believe it's the Black Equity Podcast. And I was listening to this podcast this morning on my morning walk. And this talks about are Black businesses recruiting HBCU students. And they interviewed a new company, I believe it's called Unchained, created by a student at North Carolina A&T. But it raises an interesting question where, as the Black community, we put a lot of pressure on, I guess, these white multinational corporations to hire our students and to provide employment opportunities. But are we having that same type of commitment in regards to our larger companies within the African American space to do the same in terms of hiring diverse talent from HBCUs and other places as well? So the student at North Carolina A&T, I apologize, I do not remember the brother's name, but he created this platform to help solve that problem, because he, as well as the host of this podcast, both went to HBCUs, and their experience there is, all these white companies come in to recruit, but he could never find jobs at Black businesses as well. So we're going to attempt to get them on the Black Financial Channel to talk a little bit more about this as well. The brother's name, here we go, Bilal, Issifou, and Issifou, and yeah, we're going to try our best to get him on board as well. So that's about it. This was, I guess, another edition of the Financial Routine 5. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Black Financial Channel. Also, let me know how you feel about this new segment. Do you like it? What would you like to see improved? And yeah, thank you for watching and subscribing. So on behalf of the Black Financial Channel, my name is Lawrence Watkins. Take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.